Earvin Magic Johnson. Welcome to Focus. My name is Ray Lalonde, frequent collaborator in RDS and across Quebec on Cogeco Radio, a sports business analyst, consultant, and keynote speaker with 33 years in the industry. And this is my daily podcast that deals with the business of sports. Here we go. I want to talk to you today about Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson, the player, but more importantly, Magic Johnson, the businessman. I remember in 1979 watching that game between Larry Bird's Indiana State and Magic Johnson's Michigan State at the NCAA championship. That was the beginning of an incredible rivalry between two men that transformed the game of basketball in the NBA from 1979 through the ends of their careers. Because before they arrived there, Michael Jordan wasn't around and David Stern was not the commissioner. Larry O'Brien was the commissioner. And those two created a rivalry that turned out into the Celtics versus the Lakers, East versus West. And Magic Johnson's Showtime Lakers with Pat Riley and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Cooper and Mitch Kupchak and all the great players on the Lakers facing Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish and Dennis Johnson and all the great players of the Celtics. And that was must-see TV for the NBA. And they elevated the NBA to another level. Live television, for example. You didn't have to watch tape-delayed games because Bird and Magic brought that to the forefront. So Magic Johnson's career was phenomenal. He won 5 NBA titles. He was the first pick overall in that draft. And he was elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2002. He is still today one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA. He's got that incredible smile of a happy guy enjoying himself, no-looking passes to Jabbar, to James Worthy, and to his teammates. That's what made the Lakers such a special team under the ownership of Jerry Buss. And I want to talk to you about this week because it's the 27th anniversary since 1991 when he announced to the world that he had the HIV virus. And that was about to become the end of his NBA career. And then he came back for the 1992 All-Star Game. And he was the MVP. And then he retired again and came back in 1996 and played 32 games and then retired officially. But what happened to Magic Johnson since? He's had a greater career off the court than he did on the court. Now that's hard to imagine. One of the only guys I know personally was Dickie Moore, who did better off the ice than he did on the ice. And he was a multiple Stanley Cup champion and a Hall of Famer and a multiple All-Star and one of the greatest players in the history of the Canadiens. Well, Magic Johnson did all that with the Lakers and much more off the court. In 1990, he bought a Pepsi bottling company in Washington, D.C. He started meeting great business leaders in America to learn from them. He founded Magic Johnson Theaters with Sony Entertainment in 1994, and that has turned into AMC Theaters today. But he developed theaters and complexes in underprivileged areas in California and in the U.S., including in Harlem in New York, where he still has a connection, an emotional connection, and that theater is still operating. He founded Magic Johnson Enterprises that had at one point theaters, 31 Burger Kings, 13 24-hour fitness conditioning centers. He owned 4.5% of the Lakers and 105 Starbucks cafes that he has since sold back to the company. He has always invested in communities, urban areas that needed a leader and a businessman that would believe in them and give them an opportunity and a chance. So he gave back and he hired the right people that needed to be hired. He developed and contributed to the growth of society like very few former athletes have. I remember in 1981, he signed a $25 million contract for 25 years. It looked like an incredible amount, but he was only making $1 million a year. I had the privilege and the pleasure of meeting Magic Johnson on several occasions. During NBA events in the U.S., but once in Germany, in Munich, at a very famous trade show called ISPO. And the NBA hired him as an ambassador That was after 1991-92. And he came over and he represented us as we were positioning the European business of the NBA. So I spent time with him. I have a very special picture with him in my home. And he was always gentle, caring, laughing, and in a good mood. He had an incredible personality. And he is so successful today because of all of that. He has generated and raised overall over $1 billion for causes that he's believed in and that he's contributed to. He bought the LA Dodgers with the Guggenheim Group for $2 billion in 2012. At the time, it was the highest price ever paid for a sports franchise. And he was renamed to the Lakers as a team president working under Jeannie Buss in 2017. He has control of all basketball operations. He's worth more than $700 million today. He is the reason LeBron James is playing with the Lakers. Magic Johnson is more than a great, legendary, all-star, greatest ever basketball player. He has an empire. He's an astute and wise and intelligent and very successful businessman. And more importantly, he's a great human being that's made so many contributions to people in need. Thank you, Magic. You're listening to Focus. Follow me on Twitter at @RealRayLalonde and share the podcast with family and friends, and you can listen to all of them on SoundCloud and YouTube. Thanks for being there. I'm Ray Lalonde. Talk to you soon.